Yo, what up gamers? Just wanted to drop a quick video. Today I'm going to show you guys how to get these increased effect of socketed item boots with 3 sockets. These can be worth up to 100 divines or so, depending on what base you're crafting on. And before I get into this video, I have to warn you that this is a pretty expensive craft. Your chances of hitting the 3rd socket, which is where all the money's at, is about 1 in 3. Because the chances aren't good, I only recommend starting this craft when you have the capital and the currency to actually do 4 or 5 of them at a single go. I don't recommend crafting these one by one, I do them all together and I'm going to show you how in this video. Now before I get into the video and the crafting steps, the base of this craft relies on both the essence of Hysteria and the essence of Horror. And both of these essences cost quite a bit. Because we need up to 4 or 5 of them, I recommend checking the prices they are in the currency exchange right now and making sure that you can afford 4 or 5 of these essences. I'm going to start off and start making my item bases magic. These item bases are not normal boots, they are exceptional bases. Normally your boots can only have 1 rune socket. Exceptional bases, they begin with 2 rune sockets, and since our goal is to get 3 in the end, we are going to try and crop at the final step to try and get the 3rd rune socket. Now that I've explained how the exceptional bases work, I go on to the next step, which is after making them magic. If I notice that I did not get the affix that I'm looking for, which is maximum life, I turn them into a rare and annul them until they only have 1 modifier. And at this point, when they only have 1 mod, a chaos orb will reroll that single mod left and change it into a random one. So what I'm actually looking for is tier 1 or tier 2 life. I recommend settling on tier 2 if you do hit it, because chances are it will still sell for a similar price, and rolling for tier 1 may cost you a lot more. And this is the part of the craft where it can actually get really expensive if you do it wrongly, because I have noticed similar guides for this craft recommending that you use Orbs of Annulment and perfect augmentations instead. But the problem with this method is that simply 3 clicks of a Orb of Annulment cost you about a divine, and it's actually way more cost efficient to just use a chaos orb. Although I do understand why they use that method, because keeping your item as a magic allows you to use an essence to add the 3rd modifier to make it rare. But I don't use this method because Essence of Hysteria exists, which means that I'm able to get a life modifier and guarantee 30% movement speed later on. That method of using the Orb of Annulment is better if you're trying to go for 35% move speed, but since we are doing this for profit and just to sell, we're not trying to make the best boots out there. We're not making boots to be mirrored, we're trying to make things that will sell to the average player. Now on average, getting a tier 1 life modifier will take you about 120 chaos orbs, so it's about 3 divine. So at this point I'm just going to fast forward until I get all of the boots with the life modifier that I want. Now that I have the mods that I want, you'll notice that one of them is actually a magic item. This is because I got really lucky and managed to perfect transmute on tier 1 life. So for that one in particular, I'm just going to use a Essence of Ruin to add chaos resistance to that boot instead. What I'm doing now is I'm giving all of my boots suffix modifiers. I'm using the Omen of Dextro Exaltation to make sure that it only adds suffixes. I'm also using a Greater Exalt to make sure I get better mods as well. I will then sacrifice that bad mod with a Omen of Dextro Crystallization and the Essence of Hysteria to add in movement speed. So what happens when I use the Essence of Hysteria and the Dextro Crystallization together is that bad suffix that I have on my boot will be removed to add movement speed instead. This makes sure that my suffixes are free from having bad affixes on them, and gives me a chance at getting good ones instead, like resistances or strength. Fortunately, in this clip, you don't actually get to see me hitting any bad suffixes. Instead, they're all pretty good. Their resistances, strength, or armor applies to elemental damage. These are all desirable, and in this case what you actually see me do is I actually add a additional suffix on some of them, and I use a omen to guarantee desecrating a suffix. After that, I use a fracturing orb in an attempt to fracture one of the good suffixes so that they stay on the boot no matter what I do to it. This ensures that I will have at least one good suffix on the boot by the end of the craft if I hit the fracture. In the case that I hit a fracture on the prefix, nothing really changes and I still get a chance to continue the craft, and at this point I just hit with the essence of Hysteria to get move speed on the boot. Now on to the last step of the craft, we're gonna use the essence of horror to sacrifice one of our suffixes. In turn, the essence of horror will give us another suffix, which gives us increased effect of socketed items. So as you can see, I have a bunch of boots here with really good suffixes, and for those with good suffixes that I want to protect, what I do is if they weren't already desecrated with a desecrated modifier, I add on a desecrated mod, because the desecrated modifier can be sacrificed instead of one of the modifiers I want to preserve. And if it's a boot where the suffixes aren't already full by the time I use Essence of Horror, I also get a chance to re-desecrate it with another desecrated suffix, and I can just go and unveil it later on. Lucky for me, some of the Essence of Horrors remove desecrated mods, so I got to just add them back with Preserved Ribs and the Dextro Necromancy Omen as well. Now at this point of the craft, you should have at the very least maximum life, movement speed, a decent suffix on your boot if you hit a fracture, and increased effect of socketed items. All that's left for us to do is to unveil that desecrated mod and slap on our prefix, which should be the last one. For this, I just use a Gladiator Exalted Orb, and we can head into the Well of Souls to do our unveiling now. Now for most boots, what we're looking for is hybrid resistances. Desecrated modifiers can roll a certain type of resist that gives you both elemental and chaos resistance as well. In this case, I didn't get it, so I chose the hybrid attributes, which is dexterity and intelligence. This is decent for a strength-based boot because those characters will most likely not have a lot of dexterity and intelligence, making it sort of valuable for them. In the case of this boot, I didn't see hybrid resistance, but I did use the Omen of Abyssal Echoes, so I could reroll it. And in this case, I did, but I actually got a really low roll of cold resist. For this boot, I actually ended up desecrating the prefix because while I was fishing for suffixes to sacrifice, I actually got really good ones and managed to protect them all the way up to this craft. In that case, I just choose 80% armor. And for this boot, I got 70% armor as well, which I took. For this last desecration, I actually had a choice between flat armor and 80% armor. Obviously, I was just making sure I didn't click on the wrong one, but after doing a bit of math, obviously the percentage armor was a higher increase. So I clicked on that one, and it's on to our last step now, which is going back to our hideout and making sure that we corrupt on the third socket for all of them. This step is probably the least thinking required. All you gotta do is you just buy Omen of Corruption. This removes the outcome in which a Vaal Orb doesn't do anything to your item, just making it corrupted, unable to be modified, and not changing anything about it. That's not an outcome you want. The other outcomes are either you get an enchantment, or you get an additional socket, or lastly, it just rerolls the modifiers on your items, making it like randomly better or worse, but most of the time it makes it worse. So in this case, I just closed my eyes, took the Omen of Corruption, make sure you turn it on, and just slam Vaal Orbs on all of them. In this case, I actually got really lucky with my corruptions. And given the chances of getting a successful corruption is 1 in 3, I was pretty surprised by this. And checking the prices online, I can see that similar boots were going for about 100 divine. Of course, they weren't selling, so I priced it a bit lower. Overall, I'm sorry I haven't posted a video recently. I should make more videos like these. Please let me know if this video helped you out. Let me know if it was too confusing, if it was going too fast. And please leave a like and comment if you enjoyed it, and subscribe. Peace.